The North Sea, a cold and often unforgiving expanse, stretches out like a vast grey wilderness. Its waves, relentless and powerful, have shaped the lives and destinies of those who dare to navigate its waters. Yet beneath the surface, it teems with life. Schools of fish dart through the currents, while larger marine creatures glide gracefully in the depths, creating a hidden world of wonder and mystery. Above the waves, it's a highway for colossal vessels, giants of industry plying the waters. These ships, laden with goods from around the globe, are the lifeblood of international trade. Two such vessels were the MV SOLONG and the MV STENA Immaculate. These ships, though different in purpose, shared the same treacherous waters. The SOLONG, a container ship sailing under the flag of Madeira, was a familiar sight in these waters, carrying goods to and from ports around the globe. Her journeys were routine, yet each one held its own challenges. On this journey, her hold was filled with alcohol, a seemingly innocuous cargo, but in the vast expanse of the North Sea, even the most mundane cargo can become a perilous burden. The STENA Immaculate, an American-flagged oil tanker, was a different beast altogether. Her mission was critical, her cargo precious. Vast and powerful, she carried a precious and volatile cargo jet fuel destined for the US Department of Defense. The stakes were high, and every journey was fraught with potential danger. The SOLONG was no stranger to the North Sea's unpredictable nature, having braved its waters many times before. Each voyage was a testament to the skill and resilience of her crew. On that fateful day, she had departed from Grangemouth in Scotland, her sights set on the bustling port of Rotterdam in the Netherlands. The journey seemed routine, but the sea had other plans. The STENA Immaculate, on the other hand, lay at anchor, a temporary pause in her journey. Her crew, unaware of the impending danger, went about their duties with practiced efficiency. Little did the crews of these two vessels know that their paths were about to intersect in a terrifying display of the sea's raw power. The North Sea, with all its might and unpredictability, was about to remind them of its dominance. Off the coast of East Yorkshire, near the Humber estuary, the North Sea lay shrouded in a thick blanket of fog. The mist was so dense that it seemed to swallow everything in its path, creating an almost otherworldly atmosphere. This eerie silence was broken only by the gentle lapping of waves against the hulls of ships. The sea, usually bustling with activity, was now a ghostly expanse of water and fog. The air was heavy with moisture, visibility reduced to a mere ship's length. It was as if the world had shrunk to just what one could touch and feel. The date was March 10th, 2025, a day that would soon be etched into maritime history. It was just before 10 a.m. local time. The morning had started like any other, with the crew going about their usual routines. The SOLONG, making steady progress towards her destination, relied on radar and sophisticated navigation systems to guide her through the dense fog. The crew trusted their instruments implicitly. Unbeknownst to her crew, the STENA Immaculate, a silent giant lying in wait, was directly in her path. The two ships were on a collision course, hidden from each other by the thick fog. The fog, while a common occurrence in these waters, was particularly dense on this day, reducing visibility to dangerously low levels. It was a mariner's worst nightmare. The crews of both vessels were well aware of the conditions and were relying on their instruments to navigate safely. Every beep and blip on the radar was scrutinized with intense focus. However, the fog was not the only factor at play. There were other elements, unseen and unpredictable, that would soon come into play. The stage was set for disaster, a combination of human error and unfortunate circumstances about to unfold in the heart of the North Sea. The calm before the storm was about to give way to chaos. At precisely 9:48 UTC, the unthinkable happened. The calm of the morning was shattered in an instant. The SOLONG, her hull piercing through the fog, emerged into view just moments before colliding with the anchored STENA Immaculate. The dense mist had obscured visibility, making the collision unavoidable. The impact was deafening, a sickening crunch of metal against metal that echoed across the still waters. The sound was so loud it could be heard miles away, a testament to the force of the collision. The SOLONG, with her momentum, had slammed into the port side of the STENA Immaculate, tearing a gash in the tanker's side. The damage was extensive, with twisted metal and ruptured hulls. A collective gasp went up from the crews of both vessels as the enormity of the situation became clear. Faces turned pale, and hearts raced as they realized the gravity of the accident. The collision had breached fuel tanks on the STENA IMMACULATE, spilling thousands of gallons of highly flammable jet fuel into the sea. The slick spread quickly, a dark stain on the water's surface. The force of the impact sent shockwaves through both vessels. The water around them rippled violently, and the ships shuddered from the force. On the SOLONG, the bow crumpled like paper. The metal hull breached in several places. The damage was catastrophic, leaving the ship vulnerable. On the STENA IMMACULATE, the impact was no less severe. The tanker's side was breached, and the structural integrity was compromised. The tanker, though designed to withstand the rigors of the open ocean, was vulnerable in this unexpected collision. The damage was a stark reminder of the power of the sea and the fragility of even the most robust vessels. The collision triggered immediate chaos. Alarm bells blared and emergency procedures were activated on both ships. The thick fog, which had played a part in the collision, now hampered rescue efforts. Distress calls crackled over the radio waves, reaching the Coast Guard, who immediately sprang into action. The Coast Guard, well versed in handling maritime emergencies, coordinated a swift and multifaceted rescue operation. Nearby vessels, alerted to the disaster by the distress calls, changed course and rushed towards the scene, their crews prepared to offer any assistance they could. Time was of the essence. The longer it took to extinguish the fires and contain the spill, the greater the risk to the environment and to the lives of the sailors still trapped on board the burning vessels. Every second counted. As the first responders arrived, they were met with a scene of utter devastation. The immediate aftermath of the collision was a scene of controlled chaos. Firefighting vessels battled the blaze, spraying jets of water and foam onto the burning ships. Lifeboats, guided by the Coast Guard, navigated through the debris-strewn waters, searching for survivors. The rescue efforts were nothing short of heroic. Coast Guard helicopters, their rotors churning through the fog, winched survivors to safety from the decks of the stricken vessels. RNLI lifeboats, crewed by brave volunteers, pulled sailors from the frigid waters. By nightfall, the worst of the fires had been extinguished, leaving behind smoldering wreckage and a slick of oil on the water's surface. The SOLONG, her bow section severely damaged, was listing precariously. The STENA IMMACULATE, though still afloat, bore the scars of the collision, her once pristine hull blackened by fire. Section 6. Accountability and investigation. As the rescue operation wound down, attention turned to the cause of the collision. How could two modern vessels equipped with sophisticated navigation systems collide in one of the world's busiest shipping lanes? The investigation, led by the Humberside Police and the Marine Accident Investigation Branch, focused on the actions of the SOLONG's captain in the moments leading up to the collision. The 59-year-old captain, his face etched with shock and disbelief, was taken into custody, suspected of gross negligence manslaughter. The investigation would delve into the ship's logbooks, radar data, and witness testimony to determine if human error, mechanical failure, or a combination of factors had led to the disaster. Section 7. Environmental concerns. The collision sent shockwaves far beyond the immediate vicinity of the accident. Environmental groups and government agencies alike were deeply concerned about the potential impact of the oil spill. The North Sea, though teeming with life, was a delicate ecosystem vulnerable to pollution. The jet fuel, if not contained, could have devastating consequences for marine life, coastal habitats, and the livelihoods of those who depended on the sea. Thankfully, prompt action by salvage crews, aided by favorable weather conditions, managed to contain the spill. Aerial surveillance and water samples confirmed that the environmental damage was minimal. However, the incident served as a stark reminder of the potential consequences of maritime accidents and the importance of protecting our oceans. Section 8. The importance of maritime safety. The collision between the SOLONG and the STENA IMMACULATE was a stark reminder of the inherent dangers of seafaring. It highlighted the importance of maritime safety regulations, the need for constant vigilance, and the ever-present risk of human error. The incident prompted calls for stricter safety protocols, improved training for seafarers, and the use of advanced technology to prevent similar accidents from happening in the future. The sea, for all its beauty and bounty, demands respect. It is an unforgiving mistress, quick to punish complacency and negligence. The lessons learned from the SOLONG STENA Immaculate collision would hopefully help prevent future tragedies and ensure the safety of those who sailed the world's oceans. Section 9. Lingering questions. As the investigation into the collision continued, many questions remained unanswered. What exactly transpired on the bridge of the SOLONG in the moments leading up to the impact? Did the fog play a more significant role than initially thought? Were there any systemic failures that contributed to the accident? The answers to these questions would be crucial in preventing similar tragedies from occurring in the future. The collision served as a stark reminder that even in the 21st century, with all our technological advancements, the sea remains a dangerous and unpredictable environment. It is a testament to the courage of those who make their living on the waves and the importance of constantly striving to improve maritime safety.